Hey, if you're a contractor trying to build your business in Florida, you already know the market is absolutely on fire. But navigating the state's licensing rules, especially when it comes to surety bonds, can get a little confusing, right? Well, don't worry. In the next few minutes, we're going to break it all down and make it super simple. Let's jump right in.
So first, let's just get a sense of how big this community is. We're talking about more than 185,000 active licensed contractors in the Sunshine State. It's a massive, super competitive, and honestly, a constantly growing industry.
So, that leads to the million-dollar question. Out of all those thousands of contractors, who actually has to go out and get a surety bond? You know, the answer is way simpler than you think, and it's something a lot of folks get tripped up on. We're about to make it crystal clear.
All right, here's our game plan. We're going to look at Florida's unique bond rule. Then we'll see how your FICO score is pretty much the only thing that matters. After that, I've got a killer cost-saving tip that cuts your bond in half. We'll touch on the difference between certified and registered licenses, cover a special high-value bond you need to know about, and then we'll wrap it all up with the 6 simple steps to get your license.
Okay, let's kick things off with what makes Florida so different. A lot of other states have this whole complicated checklist of financial requirements. But Florida? Well, Florida basically boils it all down to just one single thing.
And you know, this is where it gets really interesting. Think about a state like Utah. There, you might need a bond if you have unpaid taxes or a recent bankruptcy or even a judgment against you. But Florida just says, nope, we're going to ignore all that noise and focus on just one number.
And what is that one thing? It's your credit score. That's it. Specifically, your FICO score. This one number is the gatekeeper. It decides whether you need to buy a contractor license bond or if you can just skip that step entirely. It really is that straightforward. And here it is, the magic number, 660. The Florida Construction Industry Licensing Board, or CILB, uses this exact FICO score to draw a line in the sand. Every single contractor applicant lands on one side of this line or the other.
So here's the bottom line, and this is probably the most important thing you'll hear today. If your FICO score is 660 or higher, you're golden. The state sees you as financially responsible, and you do not need to post a bond. But if your score is below 660, then yes, you'll be required to get a surety bond to meet that financial responsibility requirement.
So for those of you who do need a bond, the amount you need is based on your license type. Division I contractors, we're talking general, building, and residential contractors, you'll need a $20,000 bond. Division II contractors, that covers most of the specialty trades like roofing, HVAC, that kind of thing, you'll need a $10,000 bond. But hang on, because you might not have to pay for that full amount.
All right, now for a fantastic pro tip. Florida gives you a way to literally slice your required bond amount in half. This can save you some serious cash on your yearly premium, and it's a total game changer if you're in that under 660 FICO club.
So what's the secret? It's all about completing a CILB-approved 14-hour financial responsibility course. You can find these online or do them in person, and they usually run you somewhere between $150 and $300. Trust me, it's an investment that pays for itself almost instantly.
And look at the difference it makes. A Division I contractor's bond gets chopped from $20,000 all the way down to just $10,000. And for a Division II contractor, it goes from $10,000 down to $5,000. A smaller bond means a smaller yearly premium. It's simple math.
So think about it. The money you save on that smaller bond premium, it will almost always be more than what you paid for the course in the very first year. It's an absolute no-brainer if you're required to get a bond.
Okay, moving on. Let's quickly clear up another thing that sometimes causes confusion in Florida licensing, the difference between being a certified contractor versus a registered contractor.
It's actually pretty simple. A certified contractor gets their license from the state, the CILB, and they can work in any county in Florida. A registered contractor, on the other hand, is licensed at the local county level and can only work in that specific county. Now, the key thing to remember here is that the credit score rules for bonds we just talked about, they're exactly the same for both.
Now hang on, before we get to the final licensing steps, there is one more special type of bond that you absolutely positively have to know about. This one is called the Financially Responsible Officer Bond, or FRO bond for short.
And yeah, it's a big one. The FRO bond is set at a hefty $100,000, and this one has nothing to do with your credit score. It only applies in a very specific business setup. So here's the deal. This bond is required if the person who is acting as the qualifying agent for the business does not have any ownership in that business. If that's your situation, the company has to get this $100,000 FRO bond. And again, This is totally separate from the license bond we talked about for folks with credit scores under 660.
Okay, let's bring it all home. We've gone through the rules, the numbers, the special cases, all of it. So now, let's put it all together into a final, simple checklist to get you that Florida contractor license.
All right, step 1, fill out your application with the DBPR, which costs about $189. Step 2, you got to pass your business and finance exam and your trade exam. Step 3, the CILB pulls your FICO score. Step 4, if you're under 660, you purchase your bond. And please, remember to take that 14-hour course first. Step 5, get all your paperwork submitted. And finally, step 6, pay your license fee, which is about $119, and you're good to go for 2 years.
And that's really all there is to it. Once you understand this clear, credit-based system, you can handle the whole process like a pro and get to what you do best. You are ready to build your business in the Sunshine State.
And hey, if you figured out that you do need a bond, just head on over to buysuretybonds.com.